Hey YouTube, Son of Sanguinius here, and today we're going to be continuing our Blood Angels Tactics videos with a look at the underrepresented Dreadnought. Not the Death Company one, not the Furiosa one, just the regular Dreadnought. So he comes in at 100 points. He is Weapon Skill 4, Ballistic Skill 4, Strength 6, Front Armor 12, Side Armor 12, Rear Armor 10, Initiative 4, with 4 attacks base now, since the Blood Angel FAQ has been released, and he has 3 hull points. For War Gear, he comes with a Multi-Melta, a Power Fist with a built-in Storm Bolter, Searchlight, and Smoke Launchers. Special rules are Furious Charge. For options, he may take items from the Dreadnought weapons list. He may replace his Power Fist and built-in Storm Bolter with one of the following: a Missile Launcher for 10 points or a Twin-Linked Autocannon for 15 points. He may replace his Storm Bolter with the Heavy Flamer for 10 points. He can take extra armor for 10 points, and he may select a Drop Pod as a dedicated transport. So, the Dreadnought. Now, I gotta be honest with you guys here. I am guilty of this too. The regular Dreadnought, I think, in the Blood Angels Codex is easily forgotten. And like I said, I'm sticking my hand up here too, because I remember when I first, started playing Blood Angels, I looked at the regular Dreadnought and I thought, why in the hell would I ever, play this thing? I mean, you got the Death Company Dreadnought, you got the Furioso with, the frag cannon, and, you got the Blood Talons and all that. Why would you ever waste your time with a regular Dreadnought? And that's what I thought. And if you're talking close combat-wise, that's very true. Frankly, if you're looking for a close combat Dreadnought, do not waste your time with the regular Dreadnought. Look at something like the Death Company Dread or the Furioso Dread. Between the two of those, frankly, I think the Death Company Dread is better simply because it has more attacks. And for the Furioso, in my opinion, I like the Heavy Flamer, Frag Cannon, 3 template, fire support bomb that you can sort of drop on enemy units. But anyway, moving back to the regular Dreadnought here. So, for the regular Dreadnought, you're going to want to go with a ranged build. Close combat is covered by the Death Company Dreadnought and the Furioso, and frankly, everything else in your army is pretty much close combat, so it makes the whole thing just redundant. So, the Dreadnought, the regular Dreadnought, while they may not, be the best, in close combat as opposed to, the other 2 flavors of Dreadnoughts that are in this book, he can provide a very useful and, frankly, much-needed fire support platform with the ranged weapons that he's able to build. Keep in mind, we Blood Angels, we tend to forget this sometimes. We tend to have, very infantry-heavy lists, and while that's great and all, sometimes we, have a distinct lack of good fire support in our lists. At least, some of us do. Some of us, who are wise enough to sort of see through the blood and glory, that we can bring, for the Emperor and Sanguinius, can sort of see that, oh shit, gonna need a little bit more shooting in my list. But regardless, the regular Dreadnought can serve as a much-needed anti-vehicle fire support platform. At least that's how I would kit him out. But I have a couple of potential builds here, 3 of them in fact, and we can just sort of go over those now. So the first one that I often hear quite a bit is not so much anti-vehicle so much as it is anti-infantry, and it's the Twin-Linked Assault Cannon with a Missile Launcher. Honestly, a pretty effective fire support option, without a doubt. And cost-wise, it's pretty good. Let's see here. The missile launcher is 10, and if I can get to it without taking too much time here, the Twin-Linked Assault Cannon. It's not a Twin-Linked Assault Cannon, it's just a regular Assault Cannon for 20 points. So for 130 points, you're getting a pretty decent fire support platform that can support your infantry squads. Pretty good as far as anti-infantry goes, but it leaves a little bit lacking as far as anti-armor is concerned. And yes, he does have the missile launcher, but one anti-vehicle shot per turn really isn't going to do a whole lot. So it's, as far as like the assault cannon missile launcher build goes, it's definitely good anti-infantry support, but it can be redundant, especially when you look at things that can also take an assault cannon like land speeders or even ball predators that are definitely twin linked, and so I'd rather take an assault cannon on a ball predator than I would with the regular Dreadnought, simply because all that anti-infantry firepower can be pretty much redundant, considering most things in the Blood Angels Codex are sort of geared toward close combat anti-infantry anyway. So certainly a good build there, but probably not what I would go with. So what's the second option? The second option that I just sort of toyed around with, and I'm curious to see what your guys' opinion of it are simply 2 twin-linked autocannons. Now, that may not seem like the most dazzling thing you've ever heard of, and it may look a little bit boring on the tabletop as far as the modeling goes, but 2 twin-linked autocannons, you're definitely going to get some nice, reliable shooting out of it. And considering you're going to be paying, 15 points to replace the Power Fist with the built-in Stormbolter, and then I believe it's another 5 points. So for 120 points, you have good, reliable shooting, Strength 7, AP 4, so you can just sort of cut through infantry. But because it is Strength 7, you have more or less reliable time taking out low armor value vehicles, which is it's good. As I've said before, Blood Angels tend to lean more toward infantry focused builds because the infantry is kind of where it's at. And we do sort of need more anti-vehicle stuff, and so I think that the twin-linked autocannons, a it's reliable, and b it provides pretty much the perfect balance between anti-infantry and anti-vehicle. So that's just one idea. I'm curious to see what you guys have to say in the comments there, but that also would not be the one that I would probably go with if I was building just a regular Dreadnought to put in my list. So this third and final one is definitely the one that I would go with, and this is pretty much an anti-vehicle support build exclusively. So it's a twin-linked last cannon with a missile launcher. As I mentioned before, the main problem with a lot of Blood Angels lists is a distinct lack of anti-vehicle support, because, let's be honest here, what we really like is, we like having the Death Company, we like having the Sanguinary Guard sometimes, we like having, our close combat Dreadnoughts, the Death Company Dreadnought, we like having our Furiosos, we like having our Assault Terminators, so on and so on and so on and so forth. And while it's true that a lot of those things can be anti-vehicle once they get into close combat, the problem is shooting happens before the assault, and frankly, your opponent has a chance to kill them before they can, get in there and do what they need to do. So having a ranged anti-vehicle support, a fire support system in your army can definitely prove far more beneficial in a lot of cases than charging up a guy with a thunderhammer who is killed before he can even get there to really do anything. So for me personally, if I was going with a regular Dreadnought, and when you look at things like the Angel's Blade Strike Force with the oh so disappointing Battle Demi Company, and that will certainly have its own video in the future, you will have to take a regular Dreadnought in something like that. But even if you took something like the Ball Strike Force, the regular Dreadnought is still, I would argue, still worth considering. Again, not designed, well, you can build it for close combat, but why would you, unless you just wanted to have a cheap, sort of throwaway elite choice, but I think that kind of defeats the purpose of an elite's choice. So yeah, I probably sound like a broken record at this point, but regular Dreadnought, I would build them for anti-vehicle support. Twin link last cannon, missile launcher. It's good shooting, it's reliable shooting, and you can definitely do some damage with it. Plus, you have some good range too. so you can keep him in cover. You can lay down some fire, prioritize, your enemy's vehicles, and you can, possibly immobilize with the last cannon, possibly explode. Good range, good support, and frankly, in a lot of Blood Angels lists, it is much needed. So anyway, that's all I have today for the Dreadnought. A very useful tool that is often forgot about compared to his two other brothers in the Blood Angels Codex, but something that should not be forgotten and should always be considered when building your lists. So anyway, I'm curious to see what you guys have to say in the comments. Feel free to like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.